Welcome back to another episode of the GODSU Wednesday Icon Talk. I am yours truly, His Excellency Dakar Eubanks, and I'm the CEO of Dakar Marketing Tools, also your co-host and your engineer for the show. I'm alongside with Her Excellency Cairo, and she is our
There it is.
woman of power tonight. And we're going to be interviewing her, and we're going to read her bio from our Empower You magazine. You can see her featured there.
There I am.
Yes. Her Excellency Cairo is the global correspondent for Global Ovid Day Seminary and University GODSU, an international e-learning institution. Her portfolio has taken her to Jamaica, Brazil, Morocco, Senegal, Azerbaijan, as well as throughout the world. She's graduated from Cornell College in Mount Vernon, Iowa, with honors and distinction with a degree in international relations and earning the following honors: P Delta Phi, National Honor Society Representative, Pi Sigma Alpha, National Honors Society recipient, and is a Watts International Fellow in Political Research. She is the co-director of Global Ovid Day Seminary and University's Junior Ambassador Program, where she is creating a public speaking course for young people 8 to 21. In January 2018, Cairo left the United States for Tamil Nadu, India, for work with a residential school that teaches marginalized children from 4 to 18 years old, as their mission to break the cycle of poverty through education. As an Amprakash ambassador, she received a grant to volunteer teach at Shanti Bhavan, as well as conduct research on how performing arts and public speaking will continue to empower within Shanti Bhavan. She created lesson plans for weekly public speaking classes that the children attended as part of her research project. Cairo commenced a United Nations student internship through New Future Foundation under the guidance of UN Goodwill Ambassador to Africa, Queen Mother Dr. Blakely, because of her interest in diplomacy and international affairs. Miss Eubanks will be attending law school in 2021, and her interest in specializations are arbitration law and dispute resolution. Cairo is the CEO and founder of CairoSpeaks CairoWrites, where she cultivates confidence through public speaking and writing. Her company offers the following services: ghostwriting, biography and resume revision, public speaking, workshops, researching and transcription, keynote speaking, and executive coaching. In September 2019, Cairo moderated the Congressional Black Caucus Youth Issue Forum, asking panelists about where empathy was lacking in society, as well as solutions to migrate this problem. So I'm so glad to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. And I want to ask you, my first question for you is, what has been your key to the journey of success?
I would say the key within my journey to success has got to be having a very clear vision of what it is that I wanted to do, as well as finding my purpose and my passion. So my story starts as early as when I was 6 years old. I remember I got in trouble with my kindergarten teacher for talking. And she realized that the reason why I was talking was because I was teaching some of my fellow peers who were learning English as a second language how to read. I wanted to make sure that they weren't getting left behind. And I recognized that at 6 years old. I've had opportunities to educate and to learn. And what I've realized is that education really does break the cycle of poverty, as well as the possibility of just knowing that you have the potential to become a leader if you see yourself as one. So the work that I have done both in India, in Jamaica, as well as here in the United States has been focused on this idea of cultivating leadership potential within young and old alike. So with that being said, once I realized that, especially being in India when I was in Tamil Nadu, India for 6 months, I recognized that the leadership training that I was providing through public speaking workshops were really my passion. And so I wanted to find a way to be able to bring my passion into the work that I do. And I'm so grateful to be the GODSU co-director of the Junior Ambassador Program, because I focus on leadership coaching and personal professional development. And because I know that that is where I really shine, I've been able to really use all of the different opportunities that I have to really funnel it into this one mission of leadership development, unlocking youth leadership potential. And I have to also share that I'm also Miss Broward County, and that's my social impact initiative. And so with that being said, knowing what it is that I want to do, knowing what my purpose is, has helped me to be able to pick and choose different opportunities that I know align with that. So one last thing that I know we're going to have to start adding into my bio for future magazine, for the Empower You magazine, is that I'm now a UN Youth Committee member. I've been a UN Youth representative for New Future Foundation for quite some time, and I'm so blessed to say that I was selected out of 600 plus UN youth reps to be a part of the 2020 to 2021 class of UN youth reps on the steering committee for the Department of Global Communications. And I'm so grateful to be there with 24 other UN youth reps. So again, all about leadership, all about this idea of having a global perspective, and really just having the opportunity to continue to learn, to continue to cultivate growth and development so that I can be able to give back, knowing that that's where my interests are. That's what I would say.
Awesome. I know you're talking about your interests and how you were able to help in India, but I wanted to know, what were your initiatives that you were doing at this time as a leader?
As a leader, oh my goodness, it's so funny because when people ask me that, I'm like, where do I start? So to give you a bit of a timeline, when I became Miss Broward County 2020 back in March of this year, that was the first competition I ever competed in. And I'm really, truly grateful that I had this opportunity to be chosen. I've been able to have several initiatives that I've worked on, including Uplifting News. So I'm the co-host of Uplifting News, where we provide positive news and content that's not centered around the pandemic to be able to bring hope and happiness into people's homes at this time. I'm also the brand ambassador and liaison for strategic partnerships for Reading with Royalty, which is a virtual reading initiative designed to be able to bring a bit of imagination, creativity to children who may be in the hospitals at this time. And so I started with that back in April. So, March was Uplifting News. That's when we started. April was for Reading with Royalty. And since then, on top of that, I've taken on other initiatives. For example, I was asked by Mayor Wayne Messam to be a part of his mayoral public safety council, which is really groundbreaking and progressive in terms of being able to, we were basically an overview committee, and we were able to look at the policies that were already in place and make recommendations based off of that. And it was a very humbling experience because I was surrounded by so many community leaders within this field. Oh, I forgot to mention that I was a New Leaders Council fellow this year, earlier this year. And so that's another initiative where I was doing a lot of leadership development. And now I'm on the board as co-chair of recruitment. So it was such a blessing to have that opportunity. And so being a part of the Public Safety Council gave me opportunities such as being a part of the Broward Sheriff's Social Justice Task Force, which I am one of the first members to be in the program, which is amazing. And I'm also a Glass Leadership Institute Fellow for the Anti-Defamation League, which again is a huge blessing because it's focused on not just the, bringing to light, or I should say, bringing to light different advocacy that's done on behalf of Jewish people, as well as fair and secure treatment for all. But also it's an opportunity to really become a more nuanced interfaith servant leader. And so I already just shared that I'm a part of the UN Youth Committee Council, which is a fantastic opportunity, something that I've looked forward to for quite some time, ever since I first became affiliated with the UN through the work that I was doing with New Future Foundation with Queen Mother Dr. Dolores Blakely. I've been wanting to be a part of this committee, and now I am. And so I basically, if you were to ask me, I juggle several hats, but I'm happy to be able to do it. Being able to give back to the community, especially at this time, has really been my priority. And so I know that I just said a lot, but it's really, I think that that's just a majority of what I do. I still have my hands in different baskets, but the whole purpose is focusing on personal and professional development, leadership development, empowering the community, empowering youth, and just being able to share that positive energy with everyone around me.
And I know you teach confidence and being able to speak with confidence. I know you're fearless, but I want to know what were some limiting beliefs that you had to overcome, and how did you overcome it?
I think that's a great question. For me, what I would say, one limiting belief that I used to have that I'm so grateful I don't have it anymore was that I was too young to do a lot of the things that I was setting out to do. So, I realized that I have this light within me, and I believe that we all have this light, right? But we just have to let it shine. However, I felt as though I had to have more credentials or certifications or letters behind my name before I could get started. And I realized that that is not at all the case. Instead, it's important to really work to be ahead of the curve. And so a lot of the choices that I've made within my career, I believe that I made them with that limiting belief in my subconscious, but I've been able to turn that around, and now, I'm an internationally certified coach in leadership and executive coaching. And I made sure to get those certifications. I made sure to have the fellowship opportunities that I've had, even 2 fellowships in 1 year. This is my second fellowship of 2020, if you can believe that. And it's not even my first set of fellowships, but I made sure I was hungry to learn. But I recognize that my age does not dictate the knowledge or wealth of experiences that I've had. I'm very blessed to have had the opportunities that I've had to be able to learn from others, to be able to be mentored by some amazing leaders, especially within the GODSU family, such as our first dean, Dr. Michael V. Roberts. He really laid down the foundation for me planning on going to law school. And so I recognize the fact that those limiting beliefs that I once had that I didn't even realize that I had, oh, you're too young. You're never too young to start. You're never too young to start putting down the groundwork. And at the very least, especially if you're being mentored or coached by people with the expertise or that wealth of knowledge, you can start now. In fact, you should have started yesterday. You know what I mean? So it's never too early. And that's a limiting belief that once I got rid of it, it's like all of a sudden the doors started opening up, and I said, yes, I would like to speak at your conference about leadership development at 25 years old. Yes, I want to have my own business that I've had for well over a year, and now it's an LLC. Yes, I'm going to put together programs and actually open it up to youth. I forgot to mention that I did the beta testing for personal and professional development for future global leaders this past summer. And I was so blessed and overjoyed to have seen the participants taking the program that my company, CairoSpeaks CairoWrites, created, and getting to see them use the material, getting that feedback. What if I had said, oh, I have to wait until I'm this old to launch my program? we wouldn't be here today talking about it. So
Yes.
I have to say that there's no time like the present, and the best time, they always say like what the best time was yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the second best time is right now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. Indeed. And for those that don't know what you do at Cairo Writes, Cairo Speaks,
Mm-hmm.
can you tell them like what is a misconception about your line of work?
You know what I would say is that people may not understand what coaching is and what coaching does. So there are some people who do not feel as though they need a coach. But I believe that the people with the best habits, the best sort of discipline, self-discipline, the best focus, the best productivity, oftentimes have coaches. So what is a coach? I like to think of a coach as an accountability partner. I like to think of a coach as someone who can be a sounding board to help you really be able to move to the next level in terms of what your goals are. Your goals could be in health. Your goals could be in, your fitness, your lifestyle, right? Could be about your business. But oftentimes you do need to have someone outside of yourself to be able to just be able to discern what it is that you're doing. Sometimes we use language, and that's something that I think is really important. I've learned through neuro-linguistic programming, which is a certification course that I took, is that we may not be aware of some of the metaphors that we use or some of the ways in which we talk about our businesses or talk about our work. We may be demeaning ourselves or belittling ourselves and not even realize it. In fact, I didn't even know what a limiting belief was until I became a coach, because I had no concept of that. But then you realize that there's some things that you may say, today was just such a headache, and there's someone who's there to listen to you, ask you questions that will then have you have aha moment, right? Help you reflect, give you some time to actually think about some of the words that you use. And oftentimes there are people who have goals that they set out to do, but yet they don't take action to actually implement those goals. And oftentimes that's what a coach does. So for me, I feel as though I've been an unofficial coach for so long until I became internationally certified. But what I've always done for my friends and my family and now for my clients is that I give them the support they need so that they can achieve their goals and help transform their mindsets so that they know that they can achieve what they set out to do, right? But sometimes we just need somebody to give us either that little push or to be able to call us out on when we are using language that is not necessarily helping us to move forward or progress. So for me, I would say that is a misconception that people say, oh, like, why do I need to have a coach? But I believe that every coach has a coach, of course, but every individual should have some sort of accountability partner, some sort of sounding board to be able to help them get from point A to point B.
Nice. And talking about getting from point A to point B,
Mm-hmm.
what is your definition of taking action?
Well, I would say that my definition of taking action is that you not only conceive the thought, but then you put a plan in place, right? So even if today, like let's say that I say to you, Dakar, I want to learn. I actually, okay, let me give another example. Dakar, I want to run a marathon, right? 26.2 miles. Okay. For some people, they say, oh, that's a cakewalk. I could do that tomorrow. For someone like me, the most I've done is a half marathon, right? So what do I need to do? Does that mean that tomorrow I need to try to run 26.2 miles outside? Not necessarily. Maybe not. But instead, finding actionable steps that I can take to get there. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I have a plan put in place where I do X amount of miles every week and I slowly get up to that point where I can do that 26.2 miles, right? Taking action does not necessarily mean that everything has to be done today. If you have a project, doing all of it today, maybe that's not possible with the time constraints or resources or whatever it may be, but you can at least take steps towards that. Even if that means that you put a plan in place and then you take consistent action, you take consistent steps towards that goal, that is still taking action. And sometimes what I think is that some people get a little frustrated because they feel as though they're taking action, but they haven't necessarily seen the results. And what I would tell them is that oftentimes the actions that we take get compounded right? And then there's like a snowball effect where maybe a month ago you couldn't have seen yourself where you are today, right? But if you had stopped a month ago, you would not be where you are now. So to me, taking action does not necessarily have to be this grand gesture or huge announcement to the world, but it's staying consistent and it's moving forward towards your goal with the goal in mind.
Yes.
Mhm.
Nice, nice. And speaking of taking action,
Mhm.
I know you didn't. I don't think you ran any marathons lately, but what was one of the biggest decisions that you made, and why was it so significant the past 6 months or so?
The past 6 months. You know what? A huge decision that I took was related to my health. So in December 2019, I know that that's a little bit more than 6 months ago, but I'll get there. In December 2019, I unfortunately experienced a stage 2 concussion, and it affected me. And there were a lot of decisions that I was making as a result of after getting diagnosed and beginning treatment and whatnot, just to be able to be where I am now. I had to take steps as to, okay, did I want to do the pageant? The neurologist was asking me, you know, is this something that I still want to do? Everything that I was basically doing, I was being recommended to just start to like put it to the side for another time, right? Until my brain was healing the way it needed to. So I had to make a decision. Was I going to compete in my first ever pageant? This would have been the last year for me to actually have this opportunity, right? And so to actually be able to enter. And so I thought long and hard about it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take that chance. I'm going to take that risk. You know, there were some risks attached to it because, there's always the, okay, what if this doesn't go as planned, right? But I recognized the fact that this was an opportunity to grow and to learn. And so what I did was like I said, I paced myself. I paced myself and I prepared. And then imagine that night when I got crowned Miss Broward County. What if I had decided not to do the pageant? I wouldn't have known that that could have been an outcome for me. And so as a result of becoming Miss Broward County and being affiliated with the Miss America organization, I've had so many opportunities that I've been able to really take hold of because of the fact that I have that sash and crown, if you would believe it. And to me, I think the biggest revelation for me, or validation, I guess I should say, that I had was when I was featured on a Black pageant Instagram account, and I got over 300 likes, and they were saying that they'd never seen anyone in a pageant system so well known as the Miss America organization to have locks like me, to look like me. They said that they'd never seen that before. And there were people who said, you know what, we're going to support you just because we know that you are the first. And when I remember, I checked with my executive director, and she checked with her executive director, and they said, as far as we know, I'm the first title holder with locks within the Miss America history. And that to me is huge. What if I had let that concussion stop me from having this opportunity to be able to be, proudly wearing my sash and crown with my locks? I always say that my locks was my first crown that I ever had, right? But that being said, I've seen people come up to me and tell me, you know what? I didn't think that I was cut out to do pageantry until I saw you. And I said, because I saw you, I know that I can do it. That to me is amazing. To know that I'm able to inspire some other people just by my presence alone, not even saying anything. So to me, I would say that that was one of the biggest decisions I had to make in the last 6 months. And I'm so glad that I went with the decision that I did. I've learned so much. Like everyone, if you were to even look at pictures of me from last year, or even up from like February or March 2020, I do not look the same. I don't. And that's because I've changed, but in a good way. I've changed. I'm a different person in the sense that I realized that pageantry, which is something I didn't think that I was cut out to do either, I've embraced this title of being a non-traditional pageant queen, and I've just soaked up all the experiences I've had. My makeup looks different. Guess what? I learned how to do makeup. I did all this by myself. You know, I used to have a makeup artist to help me do certain looks. I learned to do that myself. I've learned to try new outfits, try new silhouettes, you know, really get the image consulting so that my stage presence is even more polished. And what the pageantry has done for me is it's really added that polish that I wouldn't have gotten in any other opportunity or space. So the clothing has changed. My workout game has increased exponentially because I realized, you know what? I want to look and feel great in my dress. And guess what? I made a huge difference in between, I want to say the beginning of the year and now I've lost about 40 pounds, which is incredible. But I did these things because I realized that the opportunities that I had to be in pageantry, it wasn't, you know, I do want to add this really quickly too, is that I didn't feel pressure to change how I looked. But you know, one thing that I've always said is that I've always wondered how these pageant queens look so beautiful in their outfits or even their poses. I was like, how come I keep doing unflattering poses or my pictures don't come out the way I want them to? It's all about stage presence. And I learned that through my time as a Miss America local title holder so far. So you can only imagine where I'll be next year when I compete for the title of Miss Florida in June 2021.
Awesome. And please tell them how they can sponsor you and how they can get in contact with you.
Well, it would be an absolute honor to be sponsored or to have support from so many of you who have seen me really grow over the last couple of years, but especially this year, I believe has been monumental for my developmental journey. So if you would like to be able to support what I'm doing as the first Miss America title holder of any level to have locks, you can reach me on Cash App. That's the $, Cairo, that's C as in cat, A as in apple, I as in igloo, R as in rose, O as in ostrich, speaks, SPEAKS. So CairoSpeaks. I would love to be able to receive your support because it will really help with the many initiatives that I have, including with Reading with Royalty, getting prepared to become Miss Florida 2021 because I'm very excited about this opportunity to be able to wear that sash and crown one day very soon when I compete for that title. But I would really appreciate any support that you give me. Thank you.
So now let's get into our outstanding global workers of GODSU. We have helping with being a spokesperson for GODSU, Ambassador His Excellency Dr. Bafor Ajibewa, who's the Ambassador of Ghana to the United States. We have Speaker Ambassador Ericana Shambure Kwa, MD, who is former AU Ambassador to the United States. We have helping with entrepreneurial empowerment, Dean His Excellency Dr. Michael V. Roberts, Chaplain, CEO of Roberts Riverwalk Hotel, and author Action Has No Season 2.0. We have Vice Chancellor His Excellency Dr. Moore-Eubanks, Chaplain, CEO of Global Alliance Technical Services. And we have helping with administrative work, our Vice Provost, His Excellency Reverend Dr. Joseph Hickman, Chaplain, who is founder of JH Global Consultancy.
Thank you, His Excellency Dakar Eubanks. It's my extreme pleasure to be on this international platform. My name is Reverend Dr. Joseph Hickman. I am chairman of the board, along with my wife, of JH Global Consultancy. It's a management firm that provides strategic planning, development funding, cybersecurity, and we have pivoted during this pandemic to personal protective equipment for first responders. And we're delighted at the enthusiastic response that we've received. If you need to make contact with us, that would be jhglobalconsultancy@gmail.com or 201-280-4125. Our purpose for being in existence is to love God, to be a global thought leader, and to build the beloved community and nurture wealth for the next generations. As Vice Provost, I serve at the pleasure of the Chancellor as Dean of Ordination Council and also the Chaplaincy Program. Two very, very vital programs. Here at Global Ovid Day Seminary and University, we want to bring about transformation of the individual, our churches, and our community. It could only happen one block at a time, one life at a time, one church at a time. We want economic development, and we want to create a generosity that has never before been seen by giving back to those that are in need in our community, and like we've always done as a generous African people, giving back to those that we don't know is there. Amen.
Thank you. So now to help, also helping with administrative work, we have Director, Her Excellency Cairo, Dr. Eubanks, UNCSR CLC, CEC Chaplain, who's the CEO of CairoSpeaks CairoWrites, and also she is our WHOOP.
There it is.
Woman of Power for this week. So can you please give us another introduction and how we can contact you?
Absolutely. So let me try to keep this to 1 minute or less. So I am Her Excellency Cairo Eubanks. I'm so proud to be GODSU co-director of the Junior Ambassador Program, where as a UN Youth Committee member and UN Youth representative as part of New Future Foundation, I work to be able to empower our youth using leadership development coaching and programs and initiatives that are designed to really be able to showcase the opportunity or potential that a youth has to become a leader if they see themselves as one. That's something I always say. So as Miss Broward County 2020 for the Miss America organization, my social impact initiative is Unlocking Youth Leadership Potential, which falls in line with leadership development work that I do. But I don't just work with youth. I work with adults too. I work with people of all ages. So within CairoSpeaks CairoWrites, which is a consulting firm that does leadership coaching, yes, but also ghostwriting. I have ghostwritten different materials such as speeches, biographies. I'm also working on several books for individuals at this time, and it gives me such pleasure and joy to be able to do that. I realize that God really blessed me to be able to have a way with words and to help others be able to translate their thoughts from their mind to paper. So that being said, if you want to support the work that I'm doing as CairoSpeaks CairoWrites, the CEO, you can definitely visit my website at cairospeaks.com. You can also email me at info@cairospeaks.com, and Cairo spelled just like Egypt, C-A-I-R-O. You can also support the work that I'm doing as the first Miss America title holder of any level to have locks and to proudly wear them by supporting me on Cash App. That is the $ Cairo, C-A-I-R-O, Speaks, that's S-P-E-A-K-S, Cairo Speaks. So I look forward to your support and your encouragement and to just continue doing what God has called you to do, as I will continue to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Helping with GODSU app development, Miss Black Florida Talented Team USA, the local Miss Black USA title holder, Sudan Eubanks, and she's the CEO of Sudan Dolls and CEO of Sudan E-Consultancy. Actually, the following helped with public relationships for GODSU. We have Imam Dr. Salahuddin Muhammad Chaplain, who is founder of Mars, Muhammad's Marriage and Relationship Services.
Yes, assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you. So happy to be here with you today. I am also the Assistant Dean for Islamic Studies for GODSU, and we are actually getting ready to launch an Islamic Studies program, and we are hoping that we get more Muslims to get involved because our school is open to everyone. It's not just open to Christians, it's open to Muslims, it's open to Jewish people, it's open to people who don't even believe in God. As long as they want to be good, they can be a part of GODSU. So we are open. the masjids, the churches. We're working for everyone, and we're here to support the good effort of us as a people, African-American people. And I like to just say this, that I am the CEO of Mars, which is Muhammad's Marriage and Relationship Services, where we try to work with families to try to get them to keep their marriages tight. And we also work with individuals so that they will know what they're getting into when they decide to get married. Too many people just walk into it blindly, but we offer premarital services, which are important so that you will know exactly what it is that you're getting into before you get into it. And then the hope is that, and we have statistics to show that people who have had premarital counseling, they do rather well. They do better than the people who just go into it blindly. So again, you can get in touch with me by going to imamsalahuddin.com, or you can call me at 914-475-2605, 914-475-2605. Thank you so much.
And we have Assistant Dean Dr. Richard D. Miles Sr., Chaplain, who is CEO of Minor Football League, Assistant Dean Dr. Charles Olawale, who is Principal Consultant at Graffiti Consulting, Inc. We also have Designate Dr. Deacon Patricia Page, Chaplain, CEO of Patricia's Inspirational Learning and Training Center, and the CEO of Patricia's House of Fashion. We have GODSU Executive Administrator, Her Excellency, Dr. Arlene Spann, Chaplain, founder of Arlene Sweats. We have Dr. Patrick Freeman, Chaplain, Chairman and CEO of Artesian Development, LLC, and the owner of Minor Football League, also known as Money for Life, the MFL, Rochester Chargers. And we have Reverend Dr. Lalipia Davis, Chaplain, who is CEO and founder of Dior to Live in Overflow. We have Robert L. Gatewood, MBA, Chaplain, CEO of Gatewood Marketing and Web. We have Dean Imam Dr. Talib Sharif, Chaplain, who is President and Imam at Nations Mosque Masjid Muhammad. We have Designate Dr. Jamie Dukes, Designate Chaplain, who is the founder and CEO of Pro IV. We have Minister Tracy Scott, Chaplain, who is CEO, It's a Wrap, Headdress and Accessories, and Admin Inc., Damsel in Defense Independent Consultant. And we have our Chancellor, GODSU, the Right Honorable Her Excellency, Reverend Dr. Diane Moore-Eubanks, Chaplain, and she helped with being our GODSU Chancellor. And so for our outstanding workers, you guys did a fabulous job. I want to thank you for those who sent actual names, who sent contact information for our GODSU leaders that were listed above, and they volunteered many hours. And we especially thank those who provided actual names, emails, phone numbers, and referrals. GODSU is grateful for the opportunity to add workers of God to our database, as well as register for our educational program. I also help with doing administrative work, and I am Director, His Excellency Dakar Eubanks, Chaplain, and I'm the CEO of Dakar Marketing Tools. You see some of our outstanding workers wearing some of our products, including myself, Dr. Hickman, and Imam Dr. Salahuddin with that pin. He's wearing that pin. I see Dr. Hickman with his GODSU jacket. And he's wearing his ring. Okay, I see you, bling bling. And I'm wearing a jacket as well. Also, you've seen our magazine all week on our God Success Teach and Pray, and you're seeing it now. And we feature all of our hundreds of students at GODSU, as well as our outstanding workers. You can see on the cover, and you can see that they have full pages as well. If you're interested in being a part of GODSU, definitely send an email to honors@godsu.org, and you can visit our website, godsu.org. And I want to remind you at this time to like, subscribe, and share. And if you're still curious about more information at GODSU, stick around. We have some more information for you. Thank you.
Global Ovid Day Seminary and University GODSU is a 501c3 interfaith e-learning Global Florida Department of Education Commission of Independent Studies approved degree issuing religious institution of higher learning under Florida Statute 1005.061F in Miramar, Florida, a suburb of Fort Lauderdale suburbs. Our curricula include programs like our theology diploma, bachelor's, master's, and PhD programs, which are designed for students called to the ministries of teaching and preaching. Program enrollees include pastors, evangelists, missionaries, and laypersons. Our additional courses: Entrepreneurial Studies, premier self-development courses on wealth building. We also offer a mini course for youth, the Junior Ambassador Youth Public Speaking, to gain professional and personal skills. Chaplaincy Diploma, Love and Spiritual, Interfaith, and Christian programs. Chaplains are trained, certified leaders attached to either a religious and/or non-religious institution or organization. Cybersecurity IT courses. Our licensed instructor has a 95% pass rate compared to the 30% national average for CompTIA accredited courses, such as Security Plus and Network Plus. 40% of our alum who've gone through our prestigious GODSU honors programs have also previously matriculated through their earned doctorate programs. Our alum include physicians, ambassadors, statesmen and stateswomen, icons and billionaires, religious leaders, titans in business, global philanthropists such as Ambassador of Ghana to the United States, His Excellency Dr. Bafor A.J. Bewa, Ambassador of Nigeria to the United States, His Excellency Dr. Sylvanus Nusufor, billionaire builder and dean, His Excellency Dr. Michael V. Roberts, former Maritime Minister, Government of Nigeria, Honorable Dr. Leke Olawale, President of Fraser Net and Fraser Nation and Power Networking Conference, Dean, His Excellency Dr. George Fraser. Our world-class and esteemed professors include Attorney Her Excellency Reverend Dr. Diane Moore-Eubanks, PhD, Chancellor, Physician Dr. Eric Bizetsky, Clinical Health and Nutrition and GODSU Medical Expert, Physician Her Excellency Rhoda Makinde, PhD, Chief Medical Doctor, GODSU, Medical Missions, Dean Michael V. Roberts, JD, PhD, Dean of Entrepreneurship Studies, Dean George Fraser, PhD, Personal Development Studies, Dean CairoSpeaks, Dean of Junior Ambassador, Professor Willis Eubanks, PhD, Dean of Cybersecurity Program, Professor Reverend Dr. Joseph Hickman, Associate Professor, Theology Program, Professor Imam Dr. Talib Sharif, Professor Interfaith Program and Chaplaincy, Professor Reverend Dr. William Blake, Theology Program Curriculum Development, Professor His Excellency Dakar Ethical